second thing he talks about is how a value he talks about is the value of fulfilling our destiny. And we believe here at VX that each person has a longing, a desire to be worth something, a desire to fulfill a purpose, a desire to do something bigger than themselves. And I honestly believe that each person has it in them. And I believe that God intentionally put this desire in us to want something bigger and larger because He is bigger and larger, and the plans He has is bigger than larger than what we have, our plans. God says, my plans are not your plans, and my ways are not your ways. My ways are beyond your ways, and my plans are beyond your plans. I think that's what I said. I believe that each person can find true significance in life in Jesus Christ. And we believe that too here. We believe that each person is called to fulfill a destiny. And we see in verse 10, it says, as each one has received a special gift, employ it in serving one another. The Bible teaches that when anybody chooses to follow Jesus, God gives them something. He gives them something to use so that they can further God's overall work, so that they can bring glory to God, so that they can do something productive for God. Each person. And I like the way the New American Standard really calls us out. It says, as each one has received. The way it words it, it almost assumes that each one is given. Some people say, well, I don't have a gift. I don't have a calling. No, each person has a gift. Everyone has a calling. It's a matter of finding it. It's like a journey towards finding it. We each do have a gift. And Peter here writes almost like he's assuming that each person does have a gift, that each person does have a purpose and is significant. And he says, you guys need to fulfill it. You guys need to employ your gift to serve one another. And if each of us are not doing what we're intended to do, it can lead to some devastating consequences. 2 months ago, I have a friend, his car overheated, and it was a radiator that blew. So I replaced the radiator. It blew at the seam, at a weak point. I replaced the radiator, and I test drove it, and there was still another problem. And I found out that there was another part that had malfunctioned that had caused the radiator to go out. It caused the engine to overheat and caused the radiator to blow. So I replaced that $118 component 2 months ago. Last week, he gives me a call and says, my car is overheating. To make a very long story short, 3 days, 4 days, we were working on that car for, off and on for a long time. And to make a whole long story short, that one component that I replaced 2 months ago malfunctioned. Only this time, it did not cause a radiator to go out. It blew a head gasket. The car is a little older, and I knew it was going to be an expensive fix, but we went ahead and went over to a shop, and the technician there, he was pretty honest. He's like, you want my opinion? It's I can fix it, but it's not worth it. The value of the car is not worth the repair. Now, my friend took it over to the place he bought it from and see if they could do something about it, but I mean, you know what I mean? Like one part that malfunctioned that costed only $118, because that part didn't do what it was supposed to do, it potentially destroyed the whole vehicle. One small component that should have worked, but didn't. In the same sense, that's kind of how it's like in a spiritual sense. Like if one of us malfunctions, if one of us is not doing what we're supposed to do, it can have some serious effects. The Apostle Paul talks about how if one part of the body is hurting, the whole part of the body hurts. It's almost like a domino effect. We're all connected to each other in one way. We're not isolated. We're not in separate compartments where we can just mope around and feel sorry for ourselves and not do anything with, and just, not do anything to further God's kingdom and then have us be okay. Like, we're all connected. When one person's hurting, we're all going to hurt. One day I was walking at Cal State Long Beach. For those of you guys who don't know, I work there. And I saw this lady. She was sitting on a bench. And I kind of felt like God was telling me, go talk to that lady. And, most of the time, I'm just quiet. I don't like to talk. And So I was going through all these what ifs and all these rationalizations in my mind. I'm like, oh, that's not God, and oh, I'm tired, I'm busy, I got a lot of things to do, a lot of important things to do, a lot of important people to see, a lot of tasks to get done, I got places to go, I just don't have time. I can't remember if I was in the midst of work, going to work, or leaving work. I can't remember. I just remember I was there. And to sum it up, I didn't talk to the lady. And many times I go through these what-if games with God. I play a what-if game with God. What if it's not God? What if it's not right? What if I look like a fool? What if the person laughs at me? But when we play a what-if game with God, we always lose because there's the opposite side. Well, what if it is God? What if it is right? What if it's the person's last chance? What if the person has been saying to God, God, help me. If you exist, help me. You see, we don't know. I have a very good friend, and this friend knew a girl who lived in the same apartment complex as her. And I don't know all the details about this girl, but the girl apparently was kind of a depressed type. She was always depressed. So she would drown it out in drinking and drugs. And God placed on my friend's heart to go talk to this girl. And my friend's response wasn't no. It was just, oh, okay, I'll get to it. And kind of just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Well, one day my friend got a phone call from one of her other friends who said, do you know that girl? Oh, yeah. She killed herself. She overdosed and killed herself. They found her dead. Her body was 2 or 3 days dead in her apartment. One of the people who lived around her apartment started smelling something foul, and it was her. We don't know what's going on inside other people. And if we don't do something, there's a lost, dying world. People dying every day, not only physically, but spiritually. People making bad decisions. And, I'm not coming down hard on my friends because we've all been there. We've all felt, oh, maybe I should do something for God. And then, oh, I'll do it later. I'll put it off. Or no, And my friend just, I don't want to say has the honor, but saw the results of her inaction. And I think sometimes if I saw the result of my inaction, it would get my butt going too, so I can, start to do something. And the truth is, we don't know. God really cares for people. He sees all the hurt, all the wounds, and all the sins that people live in, all the confusion that people live in. He sees it, and he knows it, and he cares so passionately for it that he died for everybody, for every man, every woman of every culture. He died for them because he cares that passionately for them. And we need to cooperate. We need to fulfill our destiny. We need to fulfill our calling. If God placed on our hearts a calling for youth, we need to do it. We need to ask God, how do you want me to help youth? If God placed on our heart a calling to get a very successful career and influence those people who are in the professional field, we need to pursue a good career. If God calls us to Africa, we need to go to Africa. We need to follow what God tells us to do. There's another example I have here. It's of a young lady who goes to this church. She had a dream about me, and she felt that it was from God. Like, I think this is from God. So she came and talked to me. I don't know if this is from God, but here it is. And you know what? It was from God. And she was right on. Sometimes we need to be more like that. We need to take a risk like that. And that we need to become more like that.